Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I am back. It is Sunday, January 9th, 2022. So I made an inadvertent boo-boo. And when I advertised for when I put on all my pages and stuff that we are going to be doing these lives today, I said I was still donating 100% this week. So I'm donating 100% this week. I forgot to change the thumbnail-y whatever thing. So we'll do 100% this week. That said, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only. I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. Thank you for joining me. I hope everybody is well. Hello. So all of these readings are paid readings. They're not free. They haven't been free for a really long time. And 100% of the donations will go to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey this week. It's $12 a question. You can hit me up on PayPal. I am also on Venmo. Let me do, it's not the thing, slash Anna. Lisa F/12. That's how you make a payment. Hello, Tiffany. So let's see, announcements. I still have a few spaces left in my psychic development circle. It's basically, everybody's like, oh, I need to probably rename it to intuition development. I think that's less worrisome for people. So it doesn't mean you're going to become a psychic. It means you're connecting with your intuition, which is what being psychic is. And I teach you how to connect with, how to understand what it is that's coming through, and how to develop your own language, because really we all get to develop our own language when we're doing intuitive work. I saw your donation around 3:30, Allie. Did you make another one? So yeah, so it's a great experience. It's 6 weeks. Maybe I should change it to 4 weeks. I feel like maybe that looks daunting too to people. And I get lots of great feedback. So it's a safe space. It's a small circle. So you get lots of personal attention to learn and understand what's going on, and you get immediate feedback and validation for what you're picking up. So that's that. I am over on TikTok. I know I always complain about TikTok, and I still find TikTok overwhelming, like sensory overload, but I am doing a lot more chats, like quick little, obviously they're quick videos about connecting with your intuition, what it's like to be a highly sensitive person, and self-care for a highly sensitive person. I'm going to throw in some tidbits about manifesting and all of that stuff, and sort of like on my more practical kind of person level. I think that's it. I hope you're well. If you want a private reading, I am available for private readings as always. You can find those on my website. My event that I was supposed to do on Saturday was postponed, obviously, because of COVID. So I'll be doing that on the 19th. And I don't know, I didn't ask her if everybody was able to transfer over. But there's that. I don't know. That's all the excitement I've got going on. I hope everybody's well. Astrologers are saying that upcoming Jupiter-Neptune conjunction around April 12th, 2022 could lead to easier communication with the spirit world for a few days. Do I hear anything about that from spirits? So here's what I know. So I believe in the law of assumption. And with the law of assumption, it is whatever your beliefs are, so they create. So why do I think when around Samhain or around what is also known as Halloween is the veil thinner? First of all, the veil is not something that's over all of us, like as a big group, like a big giant blanket. The veil is something that we each individually hold. So everybody's veil is sort of at a different level depending on your belief systems, and your belief systems create your reality, right? So if everybody believes that, then it is, right? But I sort of am like, I connect in whenever, right? So it doesn't really, the activity is not greater or different. It is just, it's always about the same for me. Like, it just like when they say like, oh, you can only manifest, or it's best to manifest on these times. Well, if you believe that the full moon and the new moon and all of that is a better time to manifest than it is, I sort of like the idea of like, it's a ritualistic time to remind you to do it, to like make sure you're consciously focusing on it. So maybe for that astrologer there, they see it that way. And then if more people fall in line, then more people will go, yes, it's thinner, it's thinner. I know it's not a sexy answer, but that's my answer. I do feel like there is connections with like planetary things happening and things being a little bit more stuck or harder, and that the planets do sort of go in certain flows. But again, it doesn't have to be a hard and fast, like, oh my God, this planet is here in my lineup, and so it's going to be such a tough year. It's like, well, it might be a little harder, but then you can also manifest differently. I hope that was a valid, exciting, helpful answer. Oh, I'll check, Jenny. And so the list will go, I first have Tiffany, who has 2 questions. KK, are you here today? I don't know if you're able to make it. I forgot to ask, and I didn't email anything because I didn't. Sorry. I was actually like, my kids were on my computer doing, like, I had a long Zoom thing because I'm doing a 24-day challenge in my workout group because I need a kick in that to get back to working out regularly because I've been not for various reasons. And all right. Oh, Maureen, I've got you, dear. Okay. So I've got, okay. Let me see all of these now that just came in. Clipboard. I was talking. Oh, so I was on that for like a long time. And then my mom teaches my middle daughter piano on Zoom. There is something interesting I'll talk about. So I've got Tiffany for 2. And I'll type these in there for you guys. Allie for 1, and then Devry for 1. And then J.E. for 1, and then Maureen for 1. Okie doke. Okay, so I'll type that. I guess KK's not here because usually she says something. You see my gray hairs on my head? Everybody's dropping off. Oh, there you are. Hi, KK. Oh, thank you. So there's something I was going to say while I was thinking of this, and I don't remember what. I don't know if some of you could be here yesterday. You could go back and watch the live I did for predictions yesterday. There was something somebody asked me about Europe, if I saw anything major happening in Europe. I have to be honest, like I feel like there's so much chaos created by COVID that everybody is just sort of like, in order to like hang on, that I don't see any like huge skirmishes or any kind of whatever. That's just my feeling. But I don't always get to see the whole picture, right? So I don't know. I'm going to eat a Werther's because I just feel like it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So I watched a lot of different tarot readers and astro people, and they've talked about like I think it's Neptune in retrograde and maybe Mercury being in retrograde, like people from your past popping up. And a family member who I haven't talked to in 8 years for very valid and good reasons, who I've like will not ever talk to them again, decided to try and friend my husband on Facebook, of all things, which I find laughable at best. Like, if you know I want nothing to do with you, why would you try to friend my husband? So watch out, y'all. The cockroaches and rats from the past are going to come to get you. I think what people don't understand, and I don't know if other cancers are on here, Cancerian people. And I suppose this is probably the same with Pisces and Scorpios too, but we will tolerate a lot of terrible, awful things. But once we are done, we are done. All right, dearies. So, Tiffany, please tell me, what is your question? When you do okay, so and pause like that, it reminds me of my youngest. She'll be 5 this week, and she'll start to tell a story. She'll go, okay, so. And she usually tosses her hair a little bit too. My hair is looking a little bit like, there we go. It's looking a little wind blown, like. I'm dealing with chronic hives, and lately it's been breakouts almost every day for the past 4 months, like since the end of my pregnancy last year. So I will tell you this, it is a hormonal thing. And I think they call it idiopathic is the name for it, like no known origin. And I do feel like it's hormonal. And I will tell you, like, as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, that's a hormonal thing. I don't feel like it's a food. I don't feel like and I will tell you this because I know this. My sophomore year in high school, I had hives from here down. Literally, my entire body would be covered in hives. Almost every single day, I was just like, and I have grown up with weird food issues. Like, so when you talk about people being highly sensitive, not only am I sensitive to spirit, my skin is sensitive, my hearing is super sensitive. So I'm one of those people who gets annoyed with like chewing sounds where I'm like, oh, and I literally have to be like, people have to eat. People have to eat. Like, so like when my kids were around 2 years old, they all had this like scream that would just hit the right note and pitch where it would literally like make my ear. So I have a lot of food sensitivity. So when I was a little girl, I would like grow in and out of allergies. I was allergic to watermelon for a while, and then like orange food dye, and I'm sure there was a million other things. And I still have like food issues. I don't feel like it's a gut issue. I feel like it's hormonal. So I had hives here down, right? Wore long sleeves and pants. And thankfully, like the 90s were really big baggy clothes. And so I didn't like look weird. And I lived in Wisconsin, so it wasn't like dying hot all the time. I cut out so many things in my diet trying to figure out like on my own, because I didn't want to tell anybody, because I didn't feel like going to get poked and scratched and prodded and everything else. I was like, I must be allergic to water, because I wasn't like anorexic, but I'd like cut stuff out and put it back in. I couldn't figure out. I just couldn't. And then it turns out like years later, I was talking to my mom, and she and her sister had the same thing. It's a hormonal thing. So, cut out the foods that you're having food sensitivity with when you did the food test. They say eat like eat an anti-inflammatory diet. So like no dairy, no wheat, whatever. But that's a short-term thing. That's not a forever thing. And even with like the foods that I had to cut out through my food sensitivity test, I've introduced some of them back in, and I can eat them in small amounts. Like I can eat almonds now in small amounts, and my stomach won't hurt. I can't eat cashews. They trigger migraines for me. Certain nuts do. There's still things that I'm still kind of like I've started taking some mushroom supplements, and they still kind of irritate my stomach. But since it's like small amounts, it's okay a little bit. But I just feel like it is actually idiopathic, and it's sort of like more of a hormonal shifting thing. But it just feels like it's more hormonal, and it'll shift back. So clear out all those things that you have sensitivity issues with. Do you take a fish oil supplement for DHA and EPA? I think that's the one it is. I don't think it's gluten. It could be both for sure, but so they're like, no, it's not. So the hives are idiopathic. I feel like there's gut issues that are related to the sensitivities. But here's the thing. If everything is firing and going crazy, it's hard for your body to be like, what do we take care of first? Like it's in overload. So it's like clear out the food sensitivity stuff and the other stuff should start to rebalance itself. I sort of talked about these in my TikTok video, so you should go check them out and follow me on there. When I talk about being an HSP person, the first thing I talk about is all the physical stuff that you need to do to take care of yourself because it's a series on self-care. The first thing I talk about is all the obvious physical stuff: get enough sleep, drink water, exercise, eat macro diet. Don't, or if you have food sensitivities, cut those out. Because if all of that's going, then it's hard for you to filter out all of the extra sensory stuff that you might be picking up from other people's energy, or if it's your own stuff, that kind of stuff. So what's your second question? And again, I'm not a doctor, but these are just, feelings I get if run it by your doctor, but it's just a feeling I get. But also these things I'm sort of saying aren't going to necessarily hurt you either. Just a general reading. Okay. Do you have tightness in your left arm, or it would feel like almost like a tight muscle in your left shoulder that might run down the back of your left arm? So one thing they want to talk about is mhm. Working on finding your center and your sense of peace and calm, like going within, make sure you're doing deep breathing. I don't feel like this is like go meditate for an hour every day. It's like literally take 5 minutes in the morning before you start your day and do some deep breathing. And then they showed me a very clear picture of like macro photography or macro videography where you're and it was like a little bug walking and then everything is sort of blurred out and then like the beauty and the peace with it. Like if you ever watch those nature channels, I mean before it's like before the other animal attacks, but like where it's in a really peaceful like National Geographic moment and it shows you this like little tiny being in the world and how beautiful it is. And they're sort of saying like you need to start appreciating the macro of the world and the beauty of the small little things because you've been looking at the big picture for so long and trying to figure out the story and the meaning and what's ahead and all of this other stuff. And they're sort of like, stop. It's time for you to find the details and appreciate the details and the minutia of life. And it's funny because this is sort of like opposite of what I tell a lot of people, like stop focusing in on the little stuff and like just see the big picture and see that it's all working out. And like for you, it feels like it's time for you to go in and find the small stuff and go and see the beauty in all of it and like the details, right? And they said you'll never, ever, ever be able to make sense of it all. So just sort of be okay with that. That's sort of like a something that we all need to sort of be okay with. Someone, and I'm not going to say who, asked about like, oh, what's it like on the other side? What is that? What happens with our soul after we die? And I'm like, I don't know. And I thought about that. There's a lot of psychics or mediums that will say like, oh, this is what happens. This is what we experience. This is what the soul tells me. This is what my spirit guides tell me. Blah, 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 blah. And honestly, I don't think I've ever thought to really ask them so much of what it's like on the other side. I've had dreams about like traveling, and the colors are quite bright. Like if you've ever seen What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, the colors are very bright and rich like that. And at the same time, I don't really ask a lot about it because I just figure it's probably beyond human comprehension to understand that our souls are in so many different places at once. And probably not just if you believe, like I do, in the multiverse theory that we like all time is at one time. And so then like our consciousness is sort of like in all these different places at once, or parts of our consciousness. And so like, and I also think like I have so much to deal with here as a human. Like I just need to focus on being human, right? I mean, there is the spiritual side, but like also like my experience is supposed to be human and not worried about what's going on over there. And maybe if we all stopped worrying about what was going on in so many other places that really had nothing to do with us at the moment, we might find a more balanced sense of peace in what's going on right now. I have no idea what the no is to because I haven't really looked at it. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're responding to. Oh, the arm thing. And even now they're showing me of like almost like being in a cave, but finding the beauty in the stalagmite. No, the stalactite. Because it's like I'm looking at it and it's almost like, well, it's almost like they're both connecting. So it's almost a column, but not quite. And then there's like a pool of water and there's the reflection going in it. And I hear changes coming soon, but it's not that there aren't beautiful things right now just because it doesn't look exactly the way you think it's supposed to be. There's beauty in all of it. And this is a really general reading, and I get that. But when you ask for general, my question to them becomes, what do they most need to hear about in this moment? Because otherwise, I feel like what happens is if I were to be like, okay, just pick a topic. What's her job going on? What's going on with her personal life? Like, and I feel like this to me, it truly is what then you need to hear about most in this moment. And it's going to be more broad, and it's not going to necessarily be, don't forget to take your laundry out of the washer. And they said, come September, you'll hear news. So I think you know what that means. I already know what it means, but I don't know if you want to like, I feel like there'll be a positive pregnancy in September, August, September. Okay. Can I leave you with that? Are you satisfied? If you need more, let me know. Or if you'd like clarification or you want to validate it. This water tastes weird. I need to change my filter. Good. Okay. Allie, you're up. Davri. I'm just checking to see. Is everybody well? Starry Sky, hello. So after Maureen, I've got one for Joelle and one for Starry Sky. And thank you so much, everybody. KK is here like a rock star. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that you're going to have a problem. I just feel like your body needs a calm down time, and I think also doing the stuff towards the diet and the food and like sort of like decreasing that will help. So the best advice I can tell you is this: is you already know you can get pregnant. So take that off the table of being a fear that am I gonna? Because you know you can. Okay. And I understand given the heartache with the last one, what all of that, it all makes sense. It's all normal. So if you can find peace with that, just knowing on a mechanical sense that your body can get pregnant and is healthy to do that. Okay. And you are meant to be a mom. Oh, KK, yes, you can totally out yourself. Do you mind putting yourself after Starry Sky? Also, though, you don't have to wait until this thing to do that. Sorry, I'm obnoxiously chewing this. Do you guys ever have anything where like every time I put a Werther's in my mouth, I automatically in my head get a picture of like either Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Brothers 2? Because when I was little, I used to eat these and play Super Mario Brothers. Well, I mean, I wasn't so little. I was probably in 8th grade. But that's pretty little. Like now that I look at my kids, like when I was in 5th grade, my oldest is in 5th grade now. When I was in 5th grade, I used to feel like so grown up. And granted, I was like taking care of myself and like doing a lot more than my kids like would ever could even fathom. But like I just think like now I look at my daughter, I'm like, oh my God, I was so little. Your question's up. Okay. How will my relationship with my future partner be? Oh. Mo, do you have a respiratory thing right now? So I feel like what they're talking to me about is not really so much about how the overall relationship is going to be, but the challenges that you're going to experience in the relationship. And the very first thing I got is like, so these are probably areas for you to work on healing so that it doesn't come up. So remember that when I give you something, it is not that like, oh, this is definitely going to happen because blah, blah, blah. It's like the trajectory of where you are at right now. If you were to make no healing or no changes in your life, this is sort of where it would end up. That said, it feels like the two challenges that you're really going to have is your fear of abandonment is going to come up as an issue if you don't change anything, if you don't work on your self-concept and all of that stuff. And even once you've worked on your self-concept, it's sort of like a daily thing. Like you do have to remind yourself because you spent, I think there's 70,000 thoughts a day times however many years ingraining this in your body. So like when we're like, well, I've been doing this for a month, like, well, isn't it any different? You're like, that pathway was set in stone. Like you have to do a lot of work to kind of smooth it over. And even then, like learning and relearning is sort of, this spiral thing that happens. So there are going to be worries and triggers that they're leaving you. And so it's going to create kind of like drama things, like really high and low emotional experiences. And it also feels like the other thing is you remember, be reminded what the second thing was that they were talking about. Okay, there's three. So they said snap judgments, like be careful with snap judgments of your partner. And then the other thing is expectations. So it's not about lowering your expectations of what you deserve or anything like that, but it's like when you have expectations of other people, you're always going to be disappointed. If you expect, well, they should act this way because act this way, or why, of course they should think that because I think that, like, what's wrong? Or expecting something to turn out one way without ever communicating to the person that that's what your desires are, and then getting upset that your expectations are not met. Wait a second. Didn't you say the last time I read for you, you had some throat thing that came up and you had radiation? And then you said I had mentioned something about a tight throat chakra or my throat feeling tight. Mm-hmm. So remember that sometimes I feel stuff before it happens. Because it's already sort of in that energetic field of something that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know exactly, like, or I get stuff before it happens. So yeah, the fear of rejection, that's a fear of abandonment thing. So the triggers of being rejection, that's a fear of abandonment thing. Sorry, my phone was vibrating. So work on your self-concept, work on, because it's not that it's going to be terrible, but like, listen, every relationship has their struggles, has their things that they deal with. And it just feels like these are the areas you're really going to have that for you. He'll just reflect the things that he needs in order for he'll reflect the things of whatever you're feeling because that's what you're creating, right? So it's sort of like make sure you're working on those things so that when it comes up, you have healthy communication and when your fears come up, you sort of keep them in check without actually projecting them onto him. And then you sort of go, well, is this a valid fear here or is this my own stuff? Like, has he done anything to validate that I should be concerned? You can have a relationship. So the fact that you're willing to be reflective enough that could be an issue is huge. It's huge. So work on it. And then when you go into it and it triggers you, you're like, all right, lower self, I love you. And you kept me safe for a really long time. And thank you for letting me know that this is still something that I need to work on. But I am safe. I am secure. I'm worthy. I am valuable. And work on clearing your throat chakra. And part of that is like an affirmation. My opinions matter. My voice is strong. My wants and desires and needs deserve to be heard. It's safe for me to share and be vulnerable. Because the truth of the matter is, even when we share and we're vulnerable and the other person doesn't receive it well, we aren't dead on the ground. Or as they say, unalived, which I think is very strange, but whatever. We're okay. You might sting a little bit, but we're okay. We're resilient. We're strong beings. And the other thing you learn by expressing your wants, your desires, your needs, and the other person keeps rejecting, well, maybe that's not the person you need to be with. But if you don't, then you'll never know. Okay. And I'm sending you healing energy for your throat. Miss Devry, your turn, dear. My work and home life been up and down lately, leading to stress, but I'm still keeping faith. I close my eyes and I go, will she be able to accomplish everything she set out to do this year? And I heard yes, and. And to me, that means yes and more. But it does feel like it's a little bit later in the year when it's like you finally get the last puzzle piece in, say like August, September. So don't, or try not to, right? It's not my job to tell you, but try not to get down in those moments. And when things aren't showing up, and listen, ask KK, because I'm like, circumstances don't matter. Circumstances don't matter. Like, even if it's not showing up in the 3D, try not to let whatever's showing up not like get you down. Try to like push through and just, circumstances don't matter. Everything that I want is coming to me. I'm not worried about it. It's all mine. It's just not in the 3D yet, and it will be. I have no doubt or fear. Also, I feel like, so they talk about planetary stuff, and people have said like the last year the planetary alignments were really difficult and they're much better this year. I don't know what that means fully, to be honest. But I do know that, like, I don't know what your sign is, but I know like Neptune is in Pisces now, and that's it's like Pisces and Neptune are their whatever. Pisces ruling planet is Neptune, and Neptune is about expansion, whereas Saturn's about retraction. Tony, you should be proud of me if you're listening. He's my astrologer friend who like tries to teach me about astrology. I'm like, it's easier to be psychic. I don't have to remember symbols and signs like this that like mean nothing to me and have no connection to me whatsoever. Whereas I create my own, we create our own languages when we're connecting our psychic side. So they said you're doing fine. It's just really important to quell that lower self, to just be like, reparent that scared little child that's like, oh my God, the world is falling apart. How can I handle this? What can I do to stop the leaks and the floods and the like? There's a game on the Wii. I don't know if y'all remember the Wii, where it's like there's like broken, like you're in a tank of water and you play it on the Wii pad, which sounds really weird when you think about it. And you're supposed to like a fish will come and bash it, and then you have to like, so you're like this the whole time, and it's like that feeling of like feeling like you're trying to plug all the holes and let stop the water from draining in. And it's like that's going to move out of the way, but you sort of have to tell yourself like, you're just in the game, you're safe, you're okay, it's all going to work out. Oh, well, no wonder. Libras are all about justice and things being fair, and but also wanting to make sure that everybody is taken care of and fair. My oldest is a Libra, and she's very much about balance and fair. Well, is it fair to me? Is it fair to them? Like if she gets something, if she gets a little something, she's like, well, they need to get one too. She wants to make sure everybody's taken care of. And like she'll feel guilty if she gets a little bit more than somebody else. It's going to come, it's going to, but it's like sort of just you have to relax a little bit. And the more you say that everything is up and down, the more it is up and down. And I see that a lot in my own life, especially with one of my kids that's struggling this year, is I have to learn to like stop and be like, this is okay, this is fine, this is all working out, this is just all part of the like when I manifest something and I put it into like the universe, out to the universe, and it might not show up the right way right away. It might show up like literally the opposite. I have to remind myself, this is just like a part of the bridge of incidents and it's all falling into place. It's all okay. I need to not worry. I just need to silence this because it's a conversation like a, sorry, and it's going to annoy me if it keeps buzzing, but I know they're going to keep chatting for a little bit. Okay. All right. JE, do you want to go? Are any of y'all on TikTok? Now I'm like going to harass you. Like, what do you think of it? Come join me. Follow me. JE, are you here? Here you are. Well, I move within the next year, Jenny. So it's weird because I heard yes, but then I heard 16 months. I usually don't hear 16 months as a number. It's like usually 6, 12, 18. Like it's, I get like, I don't know why, because it's, I guess, but I heard 16 months, which is not within the next year. So I don't know if you start the looking process within the year and then it just takes you a while to find the place or settling in. That's a weird way for them to answer it for me. Where? Do me a favor. Because the world is a really big place. Will you just tell me like the part of the world you're in? You can even give me the country. You don't even have to tell me the specific state, but that way I can sort of like, I just saw Canada. Are you in Canada? And I'm writing down where I wrote, and I'll show you after you type it. Put in pen. Pens down, so you don't think I'm writing. You're in Wisconsin? That would make sense that I would see like, okay, northern. No offense, but Canada is kind of like, I mean, Wisconsin is kind of like Canada. I went to high school in Wisconsin and college in Wisconsin. And my first job ever was in a nursing home. I'm going to tell you this in a minute. I don't know. They're just sort of like taking their time. And I'm leaning towards like Wauwatosa, Waukesha, like staying in Wisconsin, not actually going far. But what's funny is I worked with this woman. So my first job ever was in this nursing home. And so there was like, it's not like it's like there wasn't a good amount of high school kids because the high school was right across the street. But it was like there was a lot of older, like people who were, in their 30s and 40s that also worked there, and some older than that. And this woman that I worked with, and I didn't work with her often, but she was talking, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, where are you from? You have such a strong accent. She's like, I'm from the Yulper. And I was like, the where? Like, I literally thought she was not from the United States. The Yulper, the Upper Peninsula of Wisconsin or Michigan, whatever. Yulper. So, yeah, I don't feel like you're leaving Wisconsin. And I'm pulled down to the southeast corner of Wisconsin. So, not like Fort Atkinson or anything like that, but I feel like a suburb of Milwaukee. No international travel for you. Sorry. I don't know if that resonates or you're planning on trying to leave, but I don't feel it. And I don't know why it feels like 16 months, but it just feels like that. Okay, thank you feels disappointed. Like a deflated balloon. And that's okay. Are you buying a home or are you renting? So I'm trying to figure out why the 16 months would be weird, because if you're renting, that wouldn't make sense, right? So my initial pull would be like, because the first things I heard were like Tosa and Waukesha. I don't necessarily feel Milwaukee or a Menominee, or what is that? That's not Menominee. It's starts with an M. Trying to think. Menominee is up near Eau Claire. Trying to think of where we played in softball. They had a really nice high school back then. I don't know. You live in West Bend. Okay, so that would make sense. It's not Menominee. What starts with an, now I'm like, I went to high school in Brookfield, which is right bordering West Bend. When we moved to Brookfield, I literally was like, Dad, there's so many white people here. I lived in Houston. Houston is a fairly diverse city. And so moving to Wisconsin is well, at least in the 90s, it was fairly segregated. I don't know what it's like now. Hang on. I just want to look at a map of Wisconsin. Oh, it is Menominee's north. Menominee Falls. That's what I'm thinking of. I was thinking of, now I've got to go back to where school is. There's Chippewa. Oh, I'm thinking of Stout, which is in Chippewa Falls, right? No, it's not in Chippewa Falls. It's further north. Anyway. Yeah, so Menominee, but I don't think it's Menominee. I think it's, might be. I don't think you'll stay in West Bend. And so maybe the 16 months might make sense, where if you find a house pending your house selling. So then the 16 months becomes weird, right? So if you're looking within the 12-month period, then you have that wait period, right? Where you're just finalizing, closing, and all of that stuff. So it's probably more towards the end of the year than 1 year period. That makes more sense. Okay. Good. Rambling. Maureen, you're up. Sorry, I'll try and move us along. I live in a condo. The neighbors above me are very loud. I want to know. Solid as they do not. Did you purchase a reading? Is this? Double check. So remember, 100% of the donations today go to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. I got you now. Okay. On Juliet. So Juliet, the readings are now $12. I went up in price this year. Because when I do the 30% donations and then by the time PayPal takes their cut, I'm not really getting anything. And my friend scolded me and she said, you need to value yourself and not give everything away for free. Okay, Maureen is, I have tons of pain in my right leg, right side hip area. What is that about? So the first thing I heard was sciatica, which is not like quite what you're feeling, but it does feel like the need to work on releasing your psoas muscle and releasing your hip flexors, because it almost feels like to me like it's more, they're making me feel like it's more at night when I'm sleeping. So like you might look up like bursitis or something like that, but I don't think that that's what it is. I feels more like everything is so tight in your hip flexors and your psoas muscle. I got schmutz. Oh, you guys, I just realized I have Play-Doh putty all over my sweater. Not Play-Doh, it's putty. My damn kids. I'm kidding. Oh, I didn't notice that before I came on. I've been sitting here with this white goo on me. And it's not that kind of white goo. It is, in fact, putty. I have purchased so much putty to go in our point bin for when my kids earn points and then they get rewards. Because my one child has a lot of sensory needs and lovely. Okay, sorry. But not that kind of goo. Anyway, okay. So it feels like to me that if you worked on, look up a psoas release, psoas, and psoas stretching and strengthening, because it feels like the leg stuff is more the like a compensatory issue where those are tightening up because all of this is kind of tight. I don't necessarily feel an actual like impingement on the nerve. It just feels like everything is so tight. Y'all, that's kind of embarrassing. Sorry. Life is life, right? Annoying. Now I'm like, can't stop. It becomes like then an OCD, like obsessive. Yeah, it feels like, and it's like, so for years, my knees would hurt and they would go like a period of a couple months where they would really hurt. Like it would feel like there was a knife underneath my kneecap or an ice pick underneath, like below my kneecap scraping. And I had x-ray after x-ray after x-ray. And this started like in 7th grade. And it wasn't until I was doing yoga that the pain went away. And I realized that it was that my quads and my, the other ones in the back. I don't know why I can't think of it. They just weren't stretched. And when I started stretching them, the knee pain never ever came back. And the minute the knee pain starts to hurt now, it's because I know I'm tight. So it feels like it's like they're going to say it's one thing, but it's like actually that these muscles need to like loosen up and be stretched and tight and released. Like your psoas needs to be released. Tilt the camera up. Yeah, but then like, yeah, but I'll still like know it's there. So it's like, just hold my clipboard. Oh, well. Trials and tribulations of being a mom of 3 and not noticing things. So it just feels like doing that. And then like the psoas release. So look up somatic psoas release. I've been talking about this a lot because I learned about it recently and it's really been quite fantastic. Okay. Joelle and Starry Sky, you guys are up. Y'all, and I can't tell you how much putty I have gotten out of carpet. So if you ever get putty in carpet, because my kids seem to not understand, like, and y'all are like, oh, just don't buy it anymore. But like one of my children really has a lot of sensory stuff, so it calms her. And Carbona, they're those little yellow bottles you can find at the grocery store. They've got like different formulas for each kind of thing you can get out. And there's one for glue and I don't know what else, but it's glue. It's like the number one. There's one for like ketchup and blood and then like chocolate and dairy, but the one for glue works wonders. And alcohol, rubbing alcohol works too, but the Carbona thing doesn't smell quite as bad as alcohol. And vinegar kind of works. But for on clothes, the Carbona one works great. I've been unemployed for a few years, contemplating my career and questioning what my calling is. So, regards to that and what to do next. So, I would like to say this about callings and purposes and all of that, because I find that when we move in that direction of, and then I'll try and help you figure out what your passion is. I like the word passion for it because to me, I feel like saying you have a calling, either like what pressure are we putting on ourselves or a purpose, like, but then if I don't find it, then I failed my life experience. And I think that's like such a way of going through life. I feel like it's unfair pressure. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't have pressure on yourself, but it's like, it's so unnecessary to feel like, oh my God, I failed life if I haven't. Because your purpose in this world is to experience it as a human and heal as much as you can and find joy as much as you can and share joy and kindness as much as you can. And be resilient. So for me, I've always enjoyed helping people. It's always made me feel lighter in my heart space. And so that's why it becomes a passion, because it's just something that brings me joy and happiness. And I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy doing it. Like now, it took me a long time to enjoy helping. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy helping, but to like do it without any expectation of anything in return. Except for this isn't an energy exchange, but I mean, like when you're helpful to someone, you don't expect, like if they don't say thank you, they don't say thank you, but do it without expectation so you don't become, right? So finding your passion is like, so with people who are neurodivergent, they're really driven by the like, there's something that just drives and they find something they like and they like can't get enough of it. So it's sort of like, what's that thing you can't get enough of? Like, it doesn't matter. Like you could pick it up any day of the week and it would make you happy and you would love doing it. Um, my whole life I've known I wanted it. Like when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor and I went into nursing, and that's a long story. And when I first started nursing, I was like, I could do this for free. I just freaking love it. And then a whole lot of other stuff happens, and you see the bureaucracy of it and all that other stuff. And it becomes like, nope, I need to be paid for this. Digitally removing feces from someone's rectum would be one of those things. And yes, I've done that. I never thought I was going to become a reverend, but I sort of fell into it because I just enjoyed learning. And then I was like, kind of, the universe brought me around to it. So it's not so much that and like, even when I developed these abilities, I didn't do it with I was sort of always like, well, what am I going to do with this? Like, okay, I can do readings. That's great. And I'll get paid for them. But like, what else am I going to do with it? I never thought about doing it wasn't like I'm going to go and be a YouTube star. I don't like consider myself a YouTube star. I'm not. I'm a little channel, but I want to be like, my idea is to be known to really help people. Like I want to help a lot of people. I want to help people not suffer, and I want to help people learn to be empowered and find their own spiritual journey and like relieve the pressures. That's why I hate the word passion. I mean, that's why I hate the word like purpose. That's why I like passion. So that's how you find it. For me, I keep seeing something like this show up, like a shape of a cup like this show up, but raw, like the raw pottery. It hasn't been painted. It hasn't been fired. It hasn't been dipped in glaze or anything. It's just the raw thing. So I'm asking them, instead of like, what is it you should be doing? I'm like, well, what's keeping her from working? Like, why hasn't she worked in a couple of years? And it's almost fear is stopping you, and it's fear of making a wrong move, fear of being stuck, fear of not being enough. And this idea that we should be doing something in life is strange to me too, because there's really nothing you should be doing. It's just full of options and choices, and which way do you want to go? I also think it's weird that we as a society are like, by 18 years old, you better pick your major and know exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life, because people are living longer now. There's so many options now that there didn't used to be. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's Joelle's passion? And I keep feeling a more creative side, creating art. But it feels like doubt that money can be made that way, and doubt that you can support yourself doing that. And so it's like that you've put this giant brake on yourself, or more than a cinder block, an anvil. So creating, that's very creative. So it's not so much that you can't do what you want to do and be creative. It's more that you have to get over that mental block that you're allowed to do that, that you're entitled to do that, that you will make money doing that, that it's possible to sustain yourself doing that, and that it takes determination and tenacity, refusal to give up. And the universe will remind you of that. I was listening to like a tarot reading thing, and it was like, and the message that kept coming through was, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Like, you're on the precipice, don't give up. I'm like, okay, because I had been sort of doubting things and wondering, I'm like, is this really like even possible for me to grow and like, make enough money on this? Jeez, man. I'm going to shame myself for the putty stain. I won't really. Don't worry. I've shamed myself for enough things that were absolutely unnecessary in life. And I'm sure all of you have too. I'm glad. You're very welcome. Adds character to the sweater. Thank you for always trying to make me feel better. It just annoys me. I don't know why. It's like, I don't know, whatever. It's like this thing when I first had it. Now I'm kind of over it, but it's still there. I think it'll soften up over time. But I still notice the rough spot here. All right. So let's see. I've got Starry Sky and KK and then Dre and Juliet. So can I do a quick poll here with the people that are here? Would the circles be less daunting if they were in 4-week series versus 6-week series? And I asked that because I thought about joining this guy's class that he has, a workshop he has, but it's 8 weeks and it's twice a week. So it's kind of a commitment. So I'm wondering, I thought, well, maybe 6 weeks seems daunting for people. And I'm always like flexible and like to ask questions and figure out what people like and all of that. I like the 6 weeks, I gotta be honest. And most people are like, oh, I wish it wasn't over when they finish it. I'm just asking. Okay. So Starry Sky says, my wife and I have a mild, weird cold and did the home test and came out positive for Omicron. Okay. I'm sorry. No, I feel like it clears within the next couple days and you're fine. I feel mostly like the throat thing. But it feels like better by day 5. No weird side effects at all. I do feel like might have like this like ache in your neck here. Then that passes. No long-term anything. My daughter, my oldest, is sick right now, and I had her tested, but it took like forever for the test to come back. Gave her a PCR because you have to have a PCR to get back in school, and it came back negative. But I'm still wondering if she does because she was pretty miserable. And she's only had 1 vaccine so far. She was supposed to get her second yesterday, but since she's sick, I'm not getting it for her until she feels a little bit better. But the rest of us are fine, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. Because there's still regular colds too, but it just seems so like coincidental, You have a neck thing here. Yeah. So I feel like then it's like by like, I don't know if it's 5 days from now or by the 5th day of not feeling well, you're like better. But it feels like very quick, nothing crazy, nothing residual. You wore Play-Doh until you got home? I think you're a little delayed. Okay. So KK, you just want a general reading. You just want a general reading. Okay. So then I do what I do. What is the most important thing to hear right now? So I feel like right now, I just feel like a little sadness, a little bit depressed, and I don't normally feel that from you. It just feels like sort of that burned out, like it's all going to be okay, but it's just sort of like that burned out, like it's really getting to you this time around. It's been a lot on you, and there's sort of like this. It's not a homesickness because I don't necessarily it's feels like being homesick, but it's that sadness of loss of connection with people and the interaction with people. Like that's really getting to you right now in particular. And I'm so like it just feels like it's going to be a little bit like more on a personal level, a little bit harder um, winter for you. Like on an emotional, not because like all these terrible, just like really like pushing yourself through and being like the self pep talky person. So I'll help you as much as I can. Um, because it just feels like the like missing human connection interaction. It's like, but you're going to be okay. It's going to get better. Um, and I keep feeling like I know it's cold there, but try and get fresh air. Happy New Year, Starry Sky. Feel better. Sending you to energy healing and good stuff. And it's like I'm like, okay, well, schedule Zoom or schedule whatever. We can have a Zoom meeting. um, but it's almost like having that energy there around you is sort of something needed. Oh my God, that's awful. Oh, it's the worst. I do not miss that cold weather. Because I lived up in Eau Claire for college, which is 90 miles east of Minneapolis, St. Paul. So it gets cold in Eau Claire. And I think was it David Letterman made a joke about the bridge that's in Eau Claire, Wisconsin once about it being the coldest place on earth. And it's really cold there. In fact, but we always learned like in college, I don't in the 90s, like those big wool sweaters, I've talked about them before, were really in, and you would figure out probably not something I should spread. This is dangerous information. Don't do this. This is stupid childish acts, whatever. But like how to dress in layers without having to wear your winter coat so it didn't smell like the bars because you could still smoke in the bars at the time. And like also when you would drink, you would get way hotter. So like trying to figure out like the least amount of clothes you could wear out to the bar without having to wear your winter jacket and still walk home without freezing. I'm not saying we were smart or that that was a safe move, but it was our thing. Um, it just feels like needing a little bit of fresh air. So maybe open your window for like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. or 30 seconds. But also like trying to get as much interaction with people because I just feel that like loneliness, that little bit of sadness right now. But it feels like by March, and I think I said this yesterday, it just feels like March gets better, and everything seems to get better and easier. It's just like this feels like the last leg of like the really tough um energetic stuff. I also feel kind of bored at work. Like it's like there's no like you're not getting any like thing it just feels like Groundhog Day, and so it's dragging and very dreary right now. Oh, waiting for the bus. Right. Sure, Tiffany, that's fine. Oh, yeah, so it just feels like everything feels kind of like drudgery. And I'll email the other part of like it was like it's even like it's I'll email the other part of that. Like I just want to write it down. And not like it's like missing that person that you see at the gym, but not because you really miss them, but because it's like at least it was interaction. So I won't email that. I just said it there. It will get better. And even it starts to get better within 2 weeks for you. I don't feel like it's a forever, like it's another 6 weeks or whatever. It's just like and I wish I could say I see big changes at work, but I don't. I feel like it's going to be more of the same for a little bit. And some of that is just deciding that it's going to change and get better and manifesting it. But you're doing okay. Just kind of sucks right now. Dre, Dre and Juliet, you're up, and then we'll do one. You're very welcome. Dre, are you still here? Well, I live in a condo. The neighbors above me are very loud. I don't know how the situation will be resolved if they do not care how they are impacting my life. Okay, I just read it. So let me see. Ooh, okay. So I feel like there's a change in 6 months that they actually move out in 6 months. Um, it's fueled by you manifesting it and just seeing them move out, like seeing new neighbors and they're seeing them move out. But I also feel like it's not like I do feel like there because I was like, it's just the floor walking around, like they can't really help that. And they're like, no, it's like loud TV, loud voices, like not particularly like really caring about volume because it doesn't feel like just the regular like walking around. Though I do feel like somebody, and I don't know if it was them, installed a different floor and there's no like soundproofing in the flooring. Like they didn't follow the rules like it feels like the HOA might have had rules for like if you're gonna put if you have somebody below you, you have to put some sort of soundproofing in, and it's like it's not there. And I do feel like the next person that moves in will have rugs and things down on the floor and be a quieter neighbor. It feels like a single female, and she might be a little bit older. Yeah. But it is about like a 6 month time. So I don't know if they have 6 months before they move out or whatever. So here's the manifesting trick is, and I've heard it from so many different people about it. It's like visualize seeing the moving truck, visualize seeing like or just visualize seeing the moving truck out. Then they're gone. And just be like, oh, it's so amazing that I have the quietest neighbors. And also don't focus on the fact that they're really loud because they are, but like get little like put in noise canceling earbuds, but don't actually have anything playing. Just put in noise canceling earbuds, not bugs. You don't want bugs in your ear. And then that way, like it helps dampen it and helps like not trigger you as much because the more you get triggered and focused on it, it's like the universe goes, oh, you want more of that? You got it. And they're like, here you go. Let me show you. Hi, lightning energy. So Juliet, what's your question? Oh, you're like, we're talking about your favorite toy. And then one more for Tiffany, I think. And then we're done. I'm sort of been like going slower, but it's like, I don't know. Oh, Joelle, did you pay for another one? You're very welcome. I am doing well. Thank you for asking or saying, or I always hope all of you are well as well. And I think about you all, and even when you're not, if you happen to listen to this after the fact, like Rose popped in yesterday, I think Rose is down in Florida. Just hoping everybody's doing well and hanging in there because this is a rough few years. Like I'm like, oh my God, we're already 2 years away from like 2020. Like that's nuts. Like we're already 2 years into this, and this is a long haul. I'm sorry to say. So I need to charge my phone. It is. Good self-care is really important. So, Juliet, your other question, Joelle, your other question, and Tiffany, your other question. Or Juliet, what's your question? Juliet, I think that you're delayed and you're like behind us. Joelle and Tiffany, if one of you guys want to go. Or one of you ladies, I should say. I got to change my water filter. That water tastes funky. And not like creepy funky, like my mom in Houston, I think this is Houston water because I hadn't been back in Houston in like 8 years, and I was there in August. And I took a shower and my skin itched, and I remember that my skin itched a lot in Houston. I think it's the water because I don't have it up here. I don't know why I'm randomly telling you things like this. Joel, okay, did you receive it? Yeah, I did. So yeah, ask another question. So Joelle and Tiffany and Juliet, you guys have questions up still. Here. I seem so refreshed and relaxed. Um, I think like like I gotta tell you from like this has been a really tough school year because one of my kids is struggling. So it's been like beyond stressful. And I'm trying to like embrace it instead of having chest pains from it. Because even though I know all the things that I need to say, like some stuff in life, you're just like gripping it and hoping you can hold on. I'm returning to work soon as a psychotherapist, wondering if I should be seeing any clients in the office given the pandemic. Would be safe if clients just a couple days a week in person. I don't feel like you'll be seeing clients in the office until March. Um, like maybe the third week of February, but it feels like there's a delay in that. And it's sort of like if I don't have to, why should I? It'll be fine. But it feels like March is like the kind of the time. Yeah. So it feels like going waiting until March until like everything sort of calms down. Because even though with Omicron it dips and whatever, it just feels like we're still going to kind of be in this weird bubble until you know till about March, till like it starts to warm up and things. March is sort of my time frame for that. Ugh, excuse me. It's like you might see your first client the third week or the last week of February. But that you would be until then completely like online. And I think it's fair for someone to say, like, I want to stay healthy. Like, general reading about my love life. And also, Tiffany's question is I got Tiffany's question. Thank you, Joelle. I don't know that my sense is that you might see a couple people like third to fourth week of February, but by March, you'll start seeing more people in person. But it still feels like not stacking them super tight. So it might even be just like half in person, half online. And I think some of that comes with some people really preferring being online, like a Zoom type meeting. Juliet, are you here? All right, Joelle wants a general reading for her love life. My heart chakra literally hurts, Joelle. You've had a whole lot of heartache in your life. And it's just that feeling of like, and it's not just romantically, it's childhood, everything. Like an unusual amount. So to be afraid to let people in and be vulnerable is completely understandable. You're very welcome, Tiffany. Um, does this resonate when I'm saying this? It's also the feeling that, like, to really cry and grieve and be okay with, like, being like, "It sucks, it's unfair, and I'm, like and I'm sad," and rather than being hard on yourself or thinking you're weird or there's something wrong with you or why can't you just be like other people and, like, just get over it and, like, suck it up and not have all of that, and they're sort of saying, like, "Be gentle with yourself, speak kindly and compassionately to yourself." And then they just said, "Because growth and change are coming, but in order to move beyond that wound, you sort of have to, gently take care of it." Wounds don't heal when you're, like, raking at them and, like, scrubbing and whatever. It's like you have to do things gently and, you know, um, and be understanding of it and be like, yeah, it's going to be scary getting into a new relationship, and it's going to be scary being vulnerable, and it's going to be like, try not to be afraid that you're going to meet the wrong person and they're going to do the same thing over again. Because what happens is that so it's like this goes back to the self-concept thing, like working on your self-concept. Like, instead of, sometimes when we focus on manifesting, we focus on bringing what's outside in, and like, oh, but I just want this and this will be happy. But it's sort of like, why do you want love? Why do most of us want love, right? We want that connection. We want to feel that we're special. We want to, but they're just a reflection. They're just reflecting how you feel on the inside about yourself, right? Especially in the beginning of relationships when it's all the good stuff, it's because you feel really good. You're reflecting to each other those good things. And then, like, as time comes, like, all the older stuff starts to come up about how we feel about ourselves and how the other person feels about themselves and blah, blah, blah. And you don't want the abusive stuff coming up. The people that told you you weren't worthy and valuable or enough. I know those people. Those people told me those things too. But you can heal that. And just because, like, I'm getting specifically around dad for you, um, you can reprogram those neural pathways. You are valuable, you are worthy, and you are deserving of love. And you're deserving of loving yourself. Like, you deserve to love you unconditionally and love all those parts of you that aren't perfect too. Can someone just type in the chat? Because I don't know if I've lost that connection or not. Okay. Was dad, though, because I keep seeing dad being like um, a more critical feature of your life, a more critical being in your life. Juliet, are you here? Can you ask your question? Let me see if, let me scan up. I'm just waiting for Joelle's answer, and then I just want to see if Juliet wrote a question. I can just answer it. Because she was here and now she's gone. Oh, there you are. So, Joelle, does that make sense with your dad? Or does that resonate about what I'm talking about? Can you validate any of that? Joelle? Hello. Hi. Yeah.
Are you done?
Almost done. It's been long, yeah?
Yeah.
All you can see is me on the camera. Everybody else just types.
Sometimes I get scared when people around me.
Yeah.
That I could see when I'm scared when I see people on your camera. I'm scared.
Yeah. Sometimes meeting people we don't know is scary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no one there. It's just me.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Still wearing jammies. Okay. Can you go upstairs, please? I love you. Mm-hmm.
When you're done doing that, can you play down here with me, like one of the board games down here?
Sure. What do you want to play?
Not on the TV.
Yeah, not on the TV. What board game do you want to play?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe go pick something out.
I thought you're done already.
I'll be done soon.
What?
Can you go so I can finish these?
Can I try this?
Yes, you can take that. Go ahead. Don't chew it. Just suck on it.
Why?
Because it's not great for your teeth.
Oh.
Okay. I love you. Can you close the door? It's making it cold in here now. Thank you, Buggy. She is a mini me. Crazy hair and all. Okay. So I feel like in order to, like, it's like they're sort of saying in order to bring somebody in, learn to trust yourself again. So trust that you're wise enough and you're capable enough of knowing that someone's not going to be kind to you. So learn to trust yourself, because sometimes when we have a lot of heartache and things, we forget that we can trust ourselves. We're trustworthy. And then, affirmations, reprogram those neural pathways that you're valuable and you're worthy and you're enough. I've been thinking a lot about lately, like some of the crap my father has said to me throughout my life and what a piece of garbage he is. And also some of the other dysfunctional things that came from other family members. And you're worthy, you're valuable. And, they had their own stuff and they weren't capable of being a whole, complete, emotionally mature being. There's something with there. It's just something with this, like I see an, I'm sticking to this because it's like an older man and it just felt like maybe a father figure. Where I just feel like a critical voice coming to you. Thank you. going to be 5 on Wednesday. I can't believe it. She's the one who goes, okay, so, I kind of think she's cute too. Can't help it. It's my little scooter. So the image I get is of a gentleman with a rounder face, not fat or anything, but just a round shaped face. And what do they call it? Salt and pepper hair. He kind of reminds me of, but he's not as white haired as. Did you ever watch Boy Meets World? Mr. McFaney, that guy. Like, I don't know why, but he reminds me of him. Yeah.
And also, are you done now?
Not quite yet.
But pretty please.
I'm almost done. I swear. Do you know what? Here, let's set a timer on my phone. And I'll be done by the time my timer goes off. Okay? Sound like a plan? I know it's hard to wait. It's been a really long time. Okay. Ready? I will be done.
Your phone on me.
Okay. Yes. You want to take that out there? And then you have my timer when my timer goes off?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Perfect. Got it? You can hear I have a garbage can right here.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the person I keep getting. Okay. Can you close the door, please? Thank you, Buggy. So Julia, your question, let me just get to that. And then, cause I have a timer on now. I'm needing to make a change and have been researching travel trailers and the right car. I found it and there are only a few of them around. Am I making the right decision? I posted this before. I get yes right away, like making the right decision. This is fine. And it like, I actually, even though there's only a few out there, I feel like you get a better deal than expected. And it feels like whoever you buy it from is like, ends up offering you a better deal, like just kind of out of the kindness of their heart. Also, sometimes change the comments. If you have it as top chat versus being all chat, then you won't necessarily see all of it. Like if you don't change it or change it from top chat to live chat. So it feels like the big theme of this year for you and love is like really doing some self-healing and working on that instead of like out and about, like hardcore dating and searching. Okay. Hi, Van. Alrighty, so I think I'll say goodnight. This is a lovely donation we're making. This will be the last week of 100% since I messed up. I didn't realize that like what I posted was 100%. And then I realized, and I was like, well, I guess we're donating 100%. The universe wanted 100% again. So I will donate that. If you're interested in doing the circles and developing your intuition and connecting with your own intuition, that one, my next one starts on Tuesday. So, and there's still a couple spaces. So I would love for you to join me. And that's that. I will see you next Sunday. I'm going to try and get back into doing some more manifesting chats, but I am posting little things on TikTok, and I'm trying to do almost every day because those are a little bit easier to get out and get done. And I'm trying to like propel myself and determined to kind of for growth and all of that good stuff. Oh, I answered yours, Juliet. So, okie dokie. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will for sure see you next Sunday. Perhaps I'll be able to get in and chat and do some more manifesting chats and get back to that because I've kind of like just like totally dropped off the radar. Let's be honest. But check me out on TikTok because I'm pretty active there, and I will see y'all later. Have a good one.